My phone buzzed on the kitchen counter, a frantic vibration against the cold marble. It was the sound I had waited for, prayed for 3 long days. But now that it was here, my hand just hovered above it. The screen flashed my daughter's name, and all I could think was, this is the call that will either break me completely or teach me how to finally stand up. My daughter, Anya, was my world. For years, it was just the two of us in our little apartment with the leaky faucet. I worked double shifts so she could have the tutoring, the clothes, the chances. I never did. Our dream was her success. We'd whisper about it over instant noodles, her becoming a brilliant lawyer, living a life of security. I didn't just want her to have money. I wanted her to have ease, the kind of life where a broken fridge isn't a crisis, where a medical bill doesn't mean choosing which utility to cut off. When she got into that top firm, I wept. When she started rising, I swelled with pride. The move from our apartment to her sleek, new condo felt like a victory lap. I'd visit, and everything was so quiet. No dripping tap, no neighbor's TV through the walls. Just the hum of luxury, a hum that slowly, without me noticing, began to feel like distance. The first time she corrected my pronunciation of a wine, I laughed it off. When she suggested I get more modern glasses, I felt a tiny pinch near my heart. I told myself this was just her new world, and she wanted me to be part of it. I missed the girl who loved my doll, but I loved the woman she was becoming, or so I thought. The change came with the $33 million. It wasn't an inheritance, but a staggering victory bonus from a case she led. Overnight, her life shifted from professional success to obscene wealth. A week after the news, I was at her penthouse, marveling at the city view. I'd brought over her favorite homemade pickle in my old, slightly chipped container. She looked at it, then at me, with an expression I couldn't quite place. Not quite disgust, it was colder, like pity. Mom, she said, her voice carefully soft. This life, it requires a certain image. For my client, my new circle, she took a steadying breath. Your visits, the way you dress, the stories you tell about our old life, they don't fit anymore. I think you should go back home, and I think it's best if you don't come around for a while. The air left the room. The chipped container in my hand felt suddenly enormous, a symbol of everything I was and everything she now rejected. She wasn't asking, she was stating a fact. In her new $33 million world, her mother was a liability. I returned to my small, quiet apartment. The silence there was different. It wasn't peaceful. It was deafening. It was the sound of absence. Her calls became brief, logistical. She sent a decorator to update my place, a man who tactfully removed family photos he called clutter. My things, my memories, boxed away. My birthday passed with the text, thinking of you, very busy. I sat with a single cupcake, staring at the phone. The worst part was the financial whisper, the unspoken threat. She had started managing a small investment she'd set up for me years ago. I've got it, Mom, she'd say. Don't worry about it. But I began to worry. My independence, my last thread of dignity, seemed tied to her goodwill. I saw pictures online her in places I couldn't pronounce, with people whose smiles looked like polished glass. I was being erased, not with a fight, but with a quiet, efficient shame. I felt myself shrinking, trying to become smaller so I wouldn't embarrass her further. The turning point was something so small. My old friend, Mena, saw Anya at a high-end jewelry store. She was buying a vintage watch, Mena said gently over tea, for a business mentor. She said it cost more than my house. Mina paused, then added, she told the salesperson she was an orphan who built herself up from nothing. That was the sentence. An orphan. It didn't make me angry, not at first. It made me deeply, terribly calm. The final tie wasn't cut by greed or pride, but by a complete rewriting of history. She hadn't just banished me, she had killed me off in her narrative, to make her story more palatable, more glamorously lonely. In that moment, the power balance shifted. My love had been my weakness. But her shame, that could be mine to understand. I didn't cry. I didn't call screaming. I became a student of my own life. I found an old, kind lawyer, a friend of a friend. I showed him all the papers I had. I asked him one question. How do I make sure what's mine remains mine, quietly and legally? He helped me untangle the small investment. It was complex, but ultimately, it was in my name. We moved it, quietly, to a new account she had no access to. It wasn't about the money, it was a modest sum in her new world. It was about sovereignty. I also went to a bank box I hadn't opened in years. Inside were the real treasures, her childhood drawings, letters from college saying, "Mom, I miss your cooking," photos of us in the apartment with the leaky faucet, smiling. I had the most poignant ones restored and framed. My plan wasn't revenge, that it was a quiet, dignified reclamation of my own story. I would not be her orphan. I prepared my home and my heart, not for a battle, but for a truth that was about to become unavoidable for her. 3 days after I finalized the financial separation, the calls began. First, a text, then multiple calls a day. Her voice, when I finally answered, was a ghost of the confident woman who'd banished me. It was thin, panicked. She came over, not to my updated apartment, but to the real one, now filled again with our photos. She looked at them, and her face crumpled. The story tumbled out. The business mentor, the glamorous circle, it was all built on leverage and performance. The $33 million was tangled in complex clauses and obligations. A deal had gone spectacularly wrong. She wasn't just losing wealth, she was facing professional ruin and lawsuits. The people she'd bought watches for had vanished. "They've frozen everything," she whispered, staring at her hands. "The lawyers say I might be liable, personally." She finally looked at me, her eyes wide with a fear. I recognized the fear our old life was built on avoiding. "Mom, I have nowhere to go. I need your help." I let the silence sit. I looked at this brilliant, broken woman. "My child, I will help you," I said, my voice steady. "You can stay in your old room, but we will help you. Not the $33 million version of you. That person doesn't live here." I didn't bail her out with money. I bailed her out with a roof, with simple food, with the quiet presence of a mother who was no longer a doormat, but a harbor with conditions. We found her, a honest lawyer, not a celebrity one. She started from scratch, this time with a clear view of what she had thrown away. The moral isn't that money is evil. It's that forgetting where you came from fractures your foundation, and sometimes the person you cast out is the only one willing to hand you the tools to rebuild. Not the palace you wanted, but the honest home you need. True strength isn't in never falling. It's in having someone who will help you up, but only if you're willing to meet them on solid ground. If this real-life family drama resonated with you, if you believe in stories of quiet strength and redemption, please share your thoughts in the comments below. Your stories matter too. If you'd like more calm, reflective narratives like this, consider subscribing to Her Voices. Thank you for listening.